Imagine you're given this button and you press it and your company's entire global operating structure is just locked in, like forever. No undo button, no takebacks.
Right, which is completely terrifying for most IT folks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the old days of enterprise IT, you could just tinker and rebuild and tweak things endlessly, right? But in this modern cloud-first world we're living in, your first structural decision might literally be permanent. So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring this massive tectonic shift in how global businesses wire their internal nervous systems.
Yeah, specifically through SAP Central Business Configuration
Yeah. Uh,
or, CBC.
exactly. And the source documentation we're looking at today really highlights how moving from traditional on-premise software to the cloud requires this completely new centralized way to set things up.
It really is it's a completely different universe.
Yeah.
We're moving from a world of endless trial and error to a world of absolute guided precision. Because SAP CBC, it isn't just a software tool. It's this fundamental shift in how businesses even approach massive digital transformations. Our focus today really has to be on the why. Like, why are centralization and guided workflows so critical now?
Okay, let's unpack this. To understand what CBC actually is, we first have to understand what it replaces, right? Let's round this in a visual. Think about wiring a massive, I don't know, 100-story skyscraper for electricity.
Okay, I like that.
The old way of doing this meant you and your team were physically in the walls, manually pulling cables floor by floor, just trying to figure out which wire goes to which breaker box. It was exhausting, prone to human error, and just incredibly tedious.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who has used the old implementation guide, the IMG, knows exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Using the IMG was basically like being handed a warehouse-sized box of loose Lego bricks. I mean, theoretically, yeah, you could build absolutely anything you wanted, but you had to manually hunt for every single piece.
And you were completely on your own if you built something structurally unsound, which happened a lot. That freedom was actually a massive liability.
Wait, really? A liability?
Oh, absolutely. You could configure an on-premise system so custom and so uniquely convoluted that when it came time to upgrade the software, say 5 years later, the entire thing would just shatter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, upgrades became these legendary nightmares because the underlying code was this tangled web of highly specific, isolated tweaks.
But CBC kind of flips that script entirely, doesn't it? It's less like a box of Legos and more like moving into a pre-furnished smart home. But it's a smart home where the plumbing is actually communicating with the electrical grid.
That's a great way to put it.
Like if you try to install an industrial high-voltage oven in the kitchen, the system automatically checks if you have the right circuit breaker installed down in the basement. And if you don't, it simply won't let you plug it in.
Exactly. It's doing the heavy lifting for you. CBC is fundamentally a tool to configure business processes across various SAP cloud solutions centrally. Specifically, it drives SAP S Cloud Public Edition.
But SAP's grand vision for this goes way beyond just S/4HANA, right?
Right, yeah. Eventually, CBC will support the entire intelligent enterprise portfolio. So we're talking about tying in solutions like SAP SuccessFactors for HR and SAP Ariba for procurement, all from one hub.
That's huge.
What's fascinating here is the shift to a business process-centric approach. In the old Lego days, you were configuring individual isolated transactions. With CBC, you're focusing on seamless, end-to-end business processes. They update automatically with SAP's latest cloud innovations.
Okay, so the philosophy makes total sense. We're building smart homes, not wobbly Lego towers. But how does a team actually, get their hands dirty? What does it look like to sit down at this command center?
Well, that brings us to the main user interface, which is called Project Experience.
Right. And looking at the documentation, projects are divided into two types. You have evaluation projects, which look like safe spaces to explore processes, and then implementation projects, which are for the actual deployment.
Spot on. You evaluate to learn, and you implement to build.
But here's where I want to push back a little, because the sources get highly technical very quickly here. They talk about a two-system landscape, or 2SL, and a three-system landscape, 3SL. Doesn't adding a third system just create unnecessary complexity? I mean, why not just keep everything to two systems?
I get why you'd ask that. It does sound like adding a third wheel just for the fun of it. But the difference is really about scale and operational control. Let's break down the two-system landscape first.
Let's do it.
So in a 2SL, you have 3 project phases in CBC. You have scope and org structure, product-specific configuration, and production system settings. And you're just juggling 2 projects, 1 evaluation, 1 implementation.
Okay, simple enough.
Right. And the key thing with 2SL is that after you confirm your production settings, the project switches to what they call ongoing operations mode.
Hmm.
And crucially, transports are released right there inside CBC.
Hold on, let me pause you right there for anyone not living in SAP architecture every day. Transports. Basically, a transport is a digital shipping container, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You build a bunch of configurations in a safe test environment, pack them into a transport, and ship them over to the live system. So in a 2SL, the central command center handles that shipping.
Precisely. It's very self-contained.
Yeah.
But then we introduce the three-system landscape, and things change drastically.
Right, because of heavy customization.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
In a 3SL, you only have two project phases in CBC, scope and org structure, and product-specific configuration. The production system settings phase is just completely gone.
Wait, gone. Where does it go?
It's handled entirely outside of CBC. And instead of 2 projects, you're now working with 4. 2 evaluations, 2 implementations.
4 projects. That escalated quickly. Why this sudden multiplication?
Because it uses starter systems and development systems, and each of those has a customizing tenant and a development tenant.
Okay, another quick translation pause. Tenants. When we say tenant in a cloud server, is it basically like renting an apartment in a massive high-rise? Like your company's data is securely locked inside apartment 4B, totally separated from 4C?
Perfect analogy. It's a partition space.
Yeah.
So in 3SL, you have these separate tenants, specifically for deep code-level development. And here's the kicker. For 3SL projects, never switch to ongoing operations mode in CBC.
Never.
Never. They remain open in the product-specific phase indefinitely. Releasing transports and managing systems happen in dedicated apps outside of CBC.
Oh, wow. Okay, so 2SL is your streamlined, everything in one room setup. But 3SL is for the heavy hitters who need a separate workshop to do the complex engineering without breaking the main house.
Exactly. You don't want someone doing heavy welding in the middle of your living room.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So whether you're in a 2SL or a 3SL, what is the very first step? From the docs, it looks like you have to define the boundaries of your business via the scope phase.
Yep, the scope phase. And it is entirely driven by the Business Adaptation Catalog, the BAC.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The BSC isn't just a static form. It actively calculates necessary configuration settings based on your business decisions, right?
It does. It's an active logic engine.
Right, so you have your mandatory selections, things like the countries or regions you operate in, and your scope bundles. And then you have optional selections. The source mentioned things like IFRS or US GAAP non-standard group ledger scenarios.
Yeah, and we should clarify why that's a big deal. IFRS and US GAAP are entirely different financial rule books. If your company operates in Germany and the US, the system needs to know how to calculate ledgers under 2 different sets of laws from day one.
That sounds incredibly complicated.
It is, which is why the BAC factors it in so early.
Yeah.
And this is also when you set your deployment targets. The deployment target is that specific apartment in the high-rise we talked about.
Right, the specific server space.
Yeah, and you can only assign 1 deployment target per project. And you can only do it during the scope phase.
You're attaching the brain to a very specific body.
Exactly. But I really need to highlight a critical warning from the documentation here. It's about a milestone called confirming scope.
Oh, this is the scary part.
It really is. Once you hit that confirm button, you cannot delete countries, regions, bundles, or scenarios.
Yeah.
It is entirely irreversible.
Wait, seriously, no undo at all.
None. You can only add scope later using the initiate change feature. So if you suddenly expand to Japan, you can add Japan. But if you accidentally check France and you don't do business there, you're stuck with it.
If you're listening to this and you've managed an IT rollout, your palms are probably sweating right now. That demands incredible upfront precision.
It absolutely forces businesses to know exactly what they are doing before they start clicking buttons.
So, okay, with the boundaries permanently locked in, it's time to build the physical reality of the company within the software. That brings us to the organizational structure phase.
Right, building the bones.
I look at the Setup Organizational Structure app as essentially drawing your corporate family tree, but it's governed by strict laws of physics.
I like that analogy. You've got graphical views, which are more visual,
Yeah.
and table views for the raw data.
And those built-in rules are wild. Like every country you selected in scoping must have at least one company code.
Yep, and one has to be set as the default.
And every sales organization must have a plant assigned to it. You can't logically sell a physical product if you don't have a place to ship it from.
Exactly. CBC forces the IT architecture to mirror actual business reality. And And once that structure is confirmed, you move into the product-specific configuration phase.
Where you get your to-do list.
Right. And those activities are categorized logically. You've got mandatory activities, which you literally have to do before go live. You've got recommended activities and optional ones.
But the way you actually do these activities is pretty unique, right?
Yeah, this is a vital detail. Launching a configuration activity in CBC actually opens the target SAP S/4HANA cloud system.
So it's a direct bridge.
Exactly. Which means you must have the corresponding authorizations in that target system, not just inside CBC. It's a highly secure, integrated handoff.
So you need the keys to both the command center and the actual building. Speaking of keys, who actually has them? Let's talk about user roles.
Yeah, the governance model is strict.
Yeah.
At the top, you have the program manager. They're the only role with access across all projects without needing to be explicitly assigned.
Basically God mode.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then you have the project manager, who has control, but only within their assigned projects.
What about the people actually doing the daily configurations, the key users?
They do the heavy lifting, but they're locked out of critical tasks. A key user cannot create projects, and they definitely cannot initiate change to alter the scope.
Okay, makes sense to protect the foundation.
Definitely. Then you have display users who are read-only, and auditors. Auditors can download change logs across all projects to make sure everything is traceable.
Okay, so we've got the team, the structure, the rules. How do we actually survive getting to the finish line? The source mentions the SAP Activate methodology. It's like a 9-step playbook.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Activate is your survival guide. CBC really owns the middle of this process. So step 4 is business process configuration. That's what we've been talking about.
Building the bones.
Right. But then step 5 is integrations and extensibility, making your system talk to the outside world, usually using SAP BTP, the Business Technology Platform.
Because an ERP system doesn't live in a vacuum.
Exactly. Then step 6 is fit to standard and user acceptance testing. You have to prove that humans can actually use the system.
Can you process an invoice without the whole thing crashing?
Exactly. Step 7 is data migration, extracting data from legacy systems and loading it via the migration cockpit. Step 8 is cutover planning.
Figuring out the exact minute you flip the switch.
Right. And finally, step 9 is go live and hypercare. It acts as a massive guardrail, ensuring no team skips a vital step.
You literally can't bypass the testing to just go live tomorrow. The methodology prevents it.
Exactly.
Wow. So to bring this all together, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you're an IT professional prepping for a meeting or just someone curious about tech, SAP CBC is clearly way more than just a replacement for the IMG.
Oh, absolutely.
It's this centralized, guided philosophy that accelerates cloud deployment by forcing logical consistency. We're moving from manual chaos to guided architecture.
And it leaves us with a really provocative thought to mull over.
Oh, what's that?
Think about the absolute rigidity of that scoping phase, the fact that choices are irreversible. Does this strict system completely eliminate the old trial and error method of IT implementation?
It seems like it has to.
Right. If a company knows they can never delete a chosen scenario once confirmed, it feels like CBC fundamentally forces corporate leadership into a state of hyper-intentional planning.
It demands absolute alignment from day one. You can't just guess anymore.
Exactly. It's a whole new world.
What a profound shift. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into SAP Central Business Configuration. I think we all have a lot to think about regarding how intentionally we build our own digital foundations. Until next time, keep digging, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.